for the state legislature. And so I don't know if you heard me, Dr. Rudman, but the Supreme Court has approved the boundaries for the new districting for the state legislature.
Gotcha.
So,
can you hear me, Romy?
We can hear you now. Thank you for joining us so early.
So, Romy, I see how this works. Yeah, I was having some technical difficulty. I think that's the first test on whether I'm worthy of being a state representative. Can I figure out the internet?
Oh, you'll do fine with it. I tell you what, my sister, when she found out that you were coming on, she said to be sure to let you know how much the local educators. Oh, there we go. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am. I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so my sister wanted you to know how much the local educators appreciate everything that you've done during the pandemic.
Oh, thank you, Robbie. And of course, we appreciate our educators. They have been very brave during this whole pandemic because obviously, people know when you get sick, where do you normally get sick? You get sick around little children. You get sick around close quarters. So let me tell you, our educators have been among the bravest individuals during this whole process. So let your sister know that we really appreciate what they do as well. And they are keeping Florida free. They are keeping Florida open. And you know what, Romy? They are continuing to educate our kids, which is what we need right now. I really appreciate them.
Well, that's fantastic. And can you tell me a little bit? I know that so my cousin Doug Broxson is a senator, and he sponsored legislation that would allow for physicians to speak freely, and it would make it harder for medical boards to impose sanctions related to that. So can you tell us a little bit about your experience with this?
Absolutely, Romy. And listen, in all honesty, I want everyone out there to know that when the American Board of Family Practice sent me a warning letter, sent me a letter of inquiry about some comments that I had made on my Facebook post, I want everyone out there to know, Romy, that you were the first to pick up on the story. You were the first to come talk to me, and I really appreciate you, Romy, getting the word out. So what you do for this community is invaluable, Romy, and you need to keep it up. We really count on you as being a strong advocate for this district, for this county. But for those of you out there who don't know what we're talking about, so when COVID started, I began to have a Facebook presence. Facebook was always just something you'd go to every month or so just to kind of advertise your business. Once COVID hit, people were counting on me for support. They were counting on me for advice, informal advice. Even people who weren't patients, they were like, "Oh, are we all going to die?" And so people would go to my Facebook page, and I started posting daily. And Romy, of course, sometimes the things would be positive in nature. Sometimes we'd hear good news. And then there were some days where the news wasn't so good. And then there were some times where we didn't necessarily agree with what our government was doing. And we would tell people that in the region. And what Romy's referring to is that there was a particular Facebook post that one out of 700 that I guess got reported to the American Board of Family Medicine. And so for those of you out there that aren't familiar, that's like getting reported to the ACT, right? It's a test we take to say that we are good doctors. So if you pass the test, they call you board certified and get a nice little certificate. So this is not medical licensure. This is something extra. This is called board certification. They're not Florida based. They're based out of Kentucky. So needless to say, Romy, they kind of caved into some cancel culture pressure. They sent myself a note of warning, as well as several hundred other physicians in the state of Florida. God knows how many across the nation. And it was our senator, our very own Senator Doug Broxson, who recognized this problem and sponsored a Senate bill that's currently in the legislature. As a matter of fact, I'm on my way there this morning. As soon as I change into some clothes and head over to Tallahassee, we're going to try and get this bill through the legislature. It's called Senate Bill 1184. For anyone that's interested, you can go look it up. I believe it's myfloridasenate.gov. It's myfloridahouse.gov. You can look it up, and you can see that all we're trying to do is give physicians across the state the right to give you their honest medical opinion without risk of decertification, because again, the standard has always been, does this doctor know their stuff? Can they pass an exam? Do they have the fund of knowledge that they're supposed to have when they graduate medical school? And are they keeping up with the times? The the certification has never been dependent on how you vote or what church you go to or what your personal beliefs are. And so, Romy, this is what's scary. They're trying to make this less about knowledge and less about qualifications. And they're trying to make our career, our certifications, our licensure, they're trying to make it more about, do you see the world the way we see it? And frankly, Doug recognizes that. Senator Broxson is doing an admirable job up there. But people like Senator Doug Broxson, people like Representative Brad Drake over in Defuniak, who's sponsoring the House bill that says the same thing, they need help. And that's why I'm here today. Last night, I announced my candidacy for District 3. It's an open seat. And I would love to be your representative in Tallahassee and give these people the reinforcements that they need. Senator Broxson, Representative Drake, they can't do this on their own. They need help. I was just with Governor DeSantis yesterday morning. He had an event in Panama City where he was specifically talking about Senator Broxson's bill and the necessity for it. And so even someone who's as respected as Governor DeSantis, and you can see my shirt, you can see that I am a DeSantis supporter, but even Governor DeSantis needs help. And so I'm asking the people of the 3rd District if they would look at my record, if they would sit down and talk with me, if they would check out my Facebook page, Holly Navarre Medical Clinic, and now I actually have a new page as of last night, Dr. Joel Rudman for House. If they would just listen to me, see what I stand for, and of course, Romy, the most important thing is I'm going to be listening to the people of the 3rd District, because that's what this is all about. There's a time to speak. Like, for example, when I'm in Tallahassee and telling you what's going on, that's when you're going to hear me speak. But the rest of the time, Romy, it's all about listening. And that's what our current representative, J.R. Williamson, does so well. He is a listener of the people. He's a listener of the district. And I hope to follow in J.R.'s footsteps. He set the bar very high for us. And I hope the people of the 3rd District will look at me and consider me someone who can carry on J.R.'s tradition.
Okay, well, thank you for all of that. And I'm hoping that with me holding the mic up and then down, that it's going to reduce some of the echo. So Peggy Norton, if you could let me know if that echo is better, I would appreciate it. But I've added a picture of Jer and his family to the screen. Jer provided his farewell address this weekend. It was just really moving. Because some of you may not know, but when Jer was a little boy, his grandfather, W.L. Butler, took him over, and on their way back home is when he decided that he wanted to be in that job one day as a legislator. And
that's amazing.
hold on.